Hi, I'm Aaron Jackson, and I'm the sports editor for the East Carolinian. We have Chase Carroll, the sports chief, Robert Romero, the baseball writer, and former baseball writer Tyler Gavin, who is now the copy editor. Thank you for watching the baseball edition of TECSperts. Today we'll be talking about the game, or the days leading up to the matchup against Western Carolina. With the 2018 season coming to a begin this year, what does the new team have to offer with the loss of former starters?
ECU lost three of its best players and captains last year in Eric Tyler, third baseman, Travis Watkins, the catcher, and Charlie Yorgan, the second baseman. Those guys have been around forever, and it's going to be really interesting seeing how the people step up in replace of them.
Well, one thing Coach Godwin said all of this year leading up is how much of a learning experience last season was and not going the way they expected. And it's going to be really, definitely, like you said, it's going to be really interesting to see how they respond and learn from that into this year. And especially talking about what's new is Dwani's back healthy. So it's going to be interesting to see how well he's back after about 286 on the season, 32 games, great dynamic outfield player. So it'll be interesting to see how he performs.
Along with some of the returners we also have a pretty good freshman class coming in, including freshman pitcher Gavin Williams. He's 6'6", and he has all the potential in the world. He could honestly become a day one starter later on down the road, but right now he's set to be in the bullpen, which will be a great spot for him.
I think like Robert hit on too, he talked about the new mindset. Last year there was a lot of talk about going to Omaha and already hosting the Super Regional even before they started the season last year. And in Media Day, Coach Godwin said none of that we're focused from Game 1 to Game 2 to Game 3, and there's no talk about the playoffs or the tournament, anything after that. I think that'll be interesting.
Well, at the very start of the ECU baseball season, ECU was given the rank of 4th in the AAC conference. Do y'all agree with that ranking or disagree?
I would say yes, I do. I agree with them because I do think that has something to do with the way it was last year, season 2, and seeing how they lost, like we said, three of their captains going into here, and how UConn, Houston, and UCF have really revamped their roster and the scouting. So I think this is a good place for us. I think hopefully it'll motivate the players. Just even though they're not going to really focus on it, they're going to know deep down they want to really prove themselves.
Yeah, last year they came in with real high expectations, nationally ranked, and they honestly came out and it wasn't
stumbled.
Yeah, they stumbled. It was not expected,
not
and maybe this ranking this year will help them come out really fiery and really just better than they did last year. They kind of sleptwalked through the first portion of the season, but maybe this will get them going this year.
Even if I don't agree with it, maybe 4 is a little low, but I think it's fair from the American. ECU finished in dead last year in the conference, 7-17, even though they were picked first. So I think you can't really give them second or third when, UConn's bringing back their Friday starter in Trey Cumbie and their best hitter in Zach Sussey. Houston won the conference last year. They're returning conference player of the year candidate in Tim Cate. Or switch, Trey Cumbie plays for Houston, Tim Cate plays for UConn, sorry. And then UCF came in second in the conference last year. So, you can't really put ECU above any of those teams.
And I agree with all of these guys right here because ECU did start off at the top spot, but then they ended up falling later in the season. And I think because they didn't live up to the hype last year, I think they'll have a chance to prove themselves this year, though. With the bullpen, we've had a great bullpen in the history of ECU baseball. This year, we have a lot of new faces. Who is best in line to start this Friday?
Like I mentioned before, Gavin Williams will likely be one of the top pitchers in our bullpen. He can throw it up to 95 miles per hour on his fastball, which I think in limited playing time will be really huge, that he can really get it going.
Yeah, it's tough to hit a couple times.
Yeah. So definitely think he will be part of our bullpen this year.
One of the big things of last year's struggles are safe situations. They could not save the ball. When it was in that situation, very rarely were they able to pull out of it. And speaking of the safe, who's going to be big this year, I believe it's going to be Matt Bridges and Sam Lanier, who about last year were sophomores and they'll struggle in that position. But I think with the year of experience and understanding how it goes, and with the whole off season of them going day by day and working on their craft, I think there'll definitely be a big impact this season.
That experience is definitely going to be huge for two sophomores, really getting game time like they did last year, now juniors. I'm looking at a junior who's turning into a senior in Ryan Ross, who had a very good year last year. He pitched to a 3.38 ERA, which doesn't give him justice to the tough positions that he had to pitch in. But Coach Godwin and pitching coach Dan Roselle talked about how much more accurate he is coming into this season. I think he's going to hit his spots with his fastballs, which was his biggest problem last year. And if his changeup is still as dynamic as it was last year, he could be a tough guy to see in the 6th inning.
On the other side, with the team getting faced with fastballs, who will the team look to for big hits?
So I'm going to look at Spencer Brickhouse still. He led the team as a freshman last year with 10 home runs. He was knocking in runners left and right. If he comes back out to Brickhouse, which is just too fitting, I think he's almost in the pitcher's head immediately. I think him in the 3 or 4 hole playing first base, he'll be huge.
I mean, definitely. I mean, Spencer was a monster last year, and he just seems like he's going to keep getting better. Also, with Dwayne coming back, he's also going to be huge, along with Brian Packard, who's Coach Godwin has said he has such a power to his swing right now, and just looking to see those guys step up.
Yeah, to kind of build off of what you said, Bryant Packard, coming off a really strong spring that went noticed by his teammates, by Coach Godwin, and Coach Godwin says he's definitely going to get him in the lineup to start this season.
Anywhere.
So anywhere.
Yeah.
He doesn't know where, either DH or outfield, but he will be in the lineup somewhere at the top of the order likely, and hopefully get on base for the Pirates.
Aside from pitcher Gavin Williams, are there any other freshman standouts on the team that are likely to have a breakout game Friday or a breakout season?
I am looking more at the older players for this year because of how young they were. This was their second top 25 recruiting class consecutively, which means that last year was also a top 25 recruiting class, and there were a lot of guys who produced, so I think that they've earned their shots, even though I'll let these two guys talk about some other freshmen.
Like, for example, Trey Benton and Jake Agnos, who are going to be starting this weekend. And so Trey, like, I was talking to Spencer, and he was saying how Trey has really became more mentally tougher in starting situations. It's not that he wasn't bad last year, just now he has more command of control of his fastball, his changeup. So he's now going to definitely be a force to be reckoned with this season.
Another guy, not a freshman, but he is a newcomer, JUCO transfer, Connor Litton. I think he'll likely start at third base to start the season, and he should be one of the top RBI getters early on if he doesn't get his spot taken. But yeah, I definitely think he has a big chance to be one of our top hitters.
The last matchup against Western Carolina, ECU won 5-4. Can we expect that same outcome in any of these matchups? Or, as I say, expect the same outcome, can we expect a win?
I think that the East Carolina team is definitely stronger built with top recruits. I think looking at last year's 5-4 game can help in some ways, but I don't think it does it justice because that was a weekday game. This is a weekend series. We're going to see their top guys. They're going to see our top guys. I think it'll be a very good matchup, but I think ECU can pull out a sweep if they're talking like they've been talking during media day.
I agree with Ty. I mean, it's just I don't think they're really necessarily thinking about the game from last year where they came up on top in the one weekday game, because they've just been talking about day-by-day process this entire off season and spring. So I think they're going to come out on top, but not because of what they result last season, but I just think their mentality is really going to really show this series.
Yeah, they're definitely going to need to be strong mentally coming out so slow last year. I think they're really going to use this first series to kind of come out strong and hopefully see what they got offensively through their lineups. And, yeah, just kind of get the new guys adjusted in the lineup.
That's a great point because last year they went on the road to start the season, got swept at Ole Miss. It was a pretty deflating team coming back. Yeah, if they can get out to a hot start, that's going to be huge for the season.
Lastly, the U.S. national baseball team has recognized Coach Cliff Godwin as the third base coach. What do you think he will have to offer this U.S. national team?
I think the third base coach is usually recognized as the game manager. He's calling if they're going to steal. He's looking to steal pitch signs. He does a whole lot from third base. And Cliff Godwin is a master of baseball. He's a student of baseball. He's been around it. He's learned from some great coaches that he's talked about in the past. I think he'll bring a very strong mentality to that U.S. baseball team. I think he'll be a huge asset.
I mean, well, he's a no nonsense kind of guy. He's very smart in the game of baseball, and I'm happy for him to really be recognized on the national stage and the collegiate level. So I'm just looking forward to seeing when it happens.
Yeah, players know what he brings to the team. Players love playing for him, and he really brings the experience you want coaching right there on third base. So I really think he's going to be a good addition to that team, and yeah, I think it only help him coaching ECU as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's a good thing for both parties.
The ECU third base coach too, so that will bring a lot of knowledge.
That's it for the spring edition of Baseball TECSperts. Tune in Friday to watch the Pirates face the Catamounts at 4 p.m.